Okay, so here's the old wheel. I've taken all of the gear out of this one. Well, I say all the gear, just the brake disc. As you can see, it's quite severely damaged as far as the frame is concerned. Some of the spokes are still retainable, and obviously the hub is still in good condition. But the requirement for that to be used is you buy the wheels fully intact. So this is just an unfriendly reminder for the things that have happened. I've gone and got a new wheel. It's fully rim taped and set and ready to go. I've put the brake disc on there, and everything's been torqued up to the specs. All of the spokes are at their current torque specification, and what we're going to do now is check to see if the tire I've taken off the original wheel is any good, because that buckle there has kind of warped the bead on this tire. I've spoken to a few bike mechanics and they seem to think that it could go either way, so we're going to give it a test first. These tyres are Smart Sam. They're not tubeless ready, even though the rims were tubeless ready. So we've got a inner tube over here. It too was pinched in the event, and I've just used a normal tube puncture repair kit for that. I've got that pumped up a little bit just to make sure that that's still holding its pressure. But what we're going to do now is just put the tyre on. Most of everything that you can do with the push bike wheel and tyre is done by hand. It's only when you start working with the metal and you have to start using tools you can put a tyre on with your bare hands. Just takes a bit of elbow grease. So we're going to pop that in there. I just need to double check I've got it facing the right way. So make sure that this one's not non-directional tyre. Rotation that way. Just going to double check that with the frame because I can't remember which side my brake rotor's on. Okay, so I just double checked I was facing it all the right way, and I am. Just going to get the first part of the bead on, which is pretty easy. Just pull the tyre through and over as you move it around slowly. There we go, pop, pop. Getting carried away with myself sticking the second one on. Okay, so now that's set on the rim that way on this first side of the tyre. The second side's going to be done once I've put the inner tube in. I will eventually be going tubeless with these ones. It's just that, as I said, the tyres that were on the wheel aren't tubeless. If I need to replace this tyre, then I'll do both front and back with tubeless ready. Especially with the bike being a mountain bike, it's quite heavy, so any weight restrictions that I can do will be ideal. Okay, so I'll just let out as much of the air I can possibly there. Now, what you really want to try and do, I don't think there's a rule for it per se, but find the valve and then just line up your label on your tyre with where the valve is. Makes it easier to locate. Each personal preference, but I just think that that's a pretty decent thing to do. I don't even know if that's how it was done from factory on mine. It's also going to make it easier for me to locate where this problem is, if there is. Strongest part of the bike tube is where the valve is, because it's got denser rubber. So if there is any problems with this fold, it happens to be right next to the valve. So if it causes a problem, inner tubes are cheap to repair or replace. So that's what I'm going to do. Just find where it's gone. And there. Just need to make sure the rim tape is out of the way. And then we can put the inner tube in. I just pop the cap back on. This particular inner tube doesn't come with a valve stem lock. I would advise doing so. It just sort of helps secure it around the valve to stop it from getting itself caught under friction. So if there is any low pressures and it's rubbing a little bit, you've got just that little bit of extra precaution against that movement. However, I don't have any, and it was operating fine before it wasn't, I guess. And in this case, it's a case of just going with what I've got for now, see how we go, and if I need to replace it. I'm not really interested in buying more valve locks if I don't need to. You know, under the circumstances of not going with with the inner tubes in the future. So when I set it all up, the new tyre, and the new rim won't be, the new inner tube won't be there. So being tubeless, so it won't be an issue. So all you do is just poke through the inner tube all the way to the end. As you start to reach the point where the resistance of the curve, just make sure you've not pinched the inner tube, and then just poke it up bit by bit. You'll have to work your fingers through on the inner tube first. Don't go too far, because you'll start to pinch. Like just there's a little bit of the inner tube, so you just push it up and keep going. As you slide over, the rim will naturally push it out. The small amount of air that's in the inner tube will hold it in place. And then just roll the whole unit over, and it'll pop over. This is the hardest part of the whole process. It takes the most amount of work. Just this last little bit, because everything is already built up into the tyre. So just take your time. A bit hard with the saw hand, so just take the pressure. So you can see that the tire itself, there's only like that much amount left to go. All you do is just pushing this in. Now the inner tube is completely inside the wheel and tire. It's no longer on this bead part, so it's just pulling and fracturing it. Not fracturing it, sorry. Folding it over into the spot that you need it to clip in, so that the bead is on the inside of the wheel. Just going to do that. Just going to pop it off for the minute, and we'll come back in just a moment. Okay, so in the process of doing the tire, focusing on doing the video and talking about that pinch in the rim, in the and the bead of the tyre. I was focused more on that than I was about focusing on the fact that I was bringing it all around to the valve side. Now, the recommended process for doing it this way is to do your last of your tyre fit on the opposite side to the valve, because you can get more purchase on the tyre and fold it around a lot more, because it's not trying to hold itself rigid. It's a really easy process. As you can see, there's an even smaller amount of gap there now on the last of the tyre. So just pushing it over the edge, getting that last little bit to fold over. See, as you can see there now, there's only maybe 5-6 inches between the thumbs, just to bring that last little bit of the bead over. Oh, hurts the hand if you broke it a few months back, so just take your time. If you do have the tools to do so, then just be careful using them. Try not to use too much. Use plastic ones, don't use metal ones. I don't really know why they sell metal ones. It's really bad for the rims and the tyres, and when you fold them over to clip them onto here, they take chunks out of the spoke. So it's best to use the plastic ones that tend to break before they break the wheel, which is a lot better. I don't actually have any, so this is my only option. Okay, took a little bit more force than I would like to admit. By hand, basically, you're folding it around and around. If it's a nice tight fit like this tyre is to this rim, tighter than it was on the other one, then you just need to constantly work your tyre around, making sure that the bead that you're trying to push in, so that the second half of the tyre's bead, once you put the inner tube in, when you're pushing it all the way around, start from the valve and work its way around. When you get to the point on the opposite side of the valve and it's really, really tight, keep that under pressure and then work your way back from the valve around and just give it more twist. As you'll do, you'll move the bead further along the ridge, and as you do so, it should put the majority of the tube, should put both the beads, when it pops in place, into the center track, this center track just here. So both beads will be pushed into here with the inner tube inside. As it expands, it pushes it up onto the edge and locks your bead in, which I'm going to do now. I'm not really going to show that because I'm going to be using a hand pump in a non-conventional way, just because this piece here on these little hand pumps is actually the perfect thread size for the Presta valves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it as best as I can that way, just basically because this one doesn't fit a Presta valve, and this piece is faulty. I do have another pump, but I don't know whether I'm going to use it. I do have, actually, you know what, I'll do this. I think that size is the right size for a Presta valve, which will allow me to use the other pump properly. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to get it to the point where it's just about to pop the bead so that you can hear it, and then that would be wheel and job done. So I've taken the Presta valve cap off, there, and I've unthreaded the Presta valve locking nut. It's still on there, but it's not done up tight. Then put the adapter on and the hand pump, and just pumping it so that I can see, just watching, making sure that the bead is sort of sitting even. I can see that it is here. As the air starts to pump around, it'll fit more onto the bottom. These kinks and creases in the tyre. Just periodically checking the opposing side as well, and continue with that. Basically just letting it down again, because I've noticed in here, don't know if you can see that, the valve is not pushing, the tube is not pushing the bead out. I just want to adjust it just a little bit. Good indicator to tell whether it is or isn't is this line here. Should be visible. There's like a little stripper section, periodically got these lines. If that's not popping out, then it means that your bead is not set against the rim. So we're just going to let the air out, rub it around a little bit, just get it to sit right, and then continue with the pump up. Okay, so that's all pumped up now. All I've used on the pressure valve was the adapter, standard head and pump. I used with the locking head, pretty good, and just a little straw style pressure valve gauge, and that I've pumped it to 30 at the moment. Always read the specifications on the tyre. They'll explain to you what sizes you need as far as PSI. So this one is between 20, where is it? was written here a second ago. Where did I see it? Big bold letters and I can't see for looking. Here we go. There we go. So you can see it's written on here 1.5 to 3.0 bar, or in PSI is 20 to 45 PSI. I'm on 30 at the moment. I find that's pretty good for where I ride. If I need to pump it up further from that, I've got these. But that's the job done. Now just to run the axle, some grease, and fit that back onto the bike. Have a big ride and see whether there's any movement. But essentially, this wheel should work better than the broken wheel. Thanks for watching.